Morning, guys. Alright, so if you've seen my first video, you've actually seen this shotgun. I've done a couple more things to it to make it a little prettier and function better. I put a big ported choke on it, see if it'll focus. Come on, focus. Maybe not. Alright. Well, put a big ported choke on it. I've given it an oil finish on the wood. I'm actually messing some of that up right now. I didn't glue my extenders, which I'll show you now. So I put some extenders on this, made it I think 1.25 inches longer. I also have a superpose that I'll show you that I did the same thing. But today I'm going to unfortunately I did not think to film putting on the extenders and shaping them with a Porter cable disc sander. But that being said, you will get to see me finish in these extenders, and I'll get a better camera angle and switch that over and show y'all how I probably don't do it like a gunsmith would do it, but it does come out pretty decent. So basically, once you have these in here and you have it shaped down by a Porter cable disc sander, which is right here. So this is the disc sander that I use. Pretty much, it's got a belt on one side and a disc on this side, and this is what I use to shape down the big stuff, because these come way oversized. The only thing is they don't come quite long enough. Well, they come long enough. The extenders come long enough. I haven't found a recoil pad that comes long enough, so I'll always get this little lip right here on the corner. But that's to be expected when your length of pull is 15 to 16 inches. So without further ado, we will start shaping this thing up. And I do have a headlamp that helps me see this a little better. And it's just as easy. It's easy just scraping away. I'm actually going to try to find a more stable surface to put the camera on so it doesn't shake. I have a vise, but I have to take the stock off and everything else, and it's just easier to leave it on the wood and sand it this way while just holding it. So let me get another stand. That's a little bit better of an angle. I'm going to change out a light real quick and get some better lighting in here. Alright, I got a new light. Way better lighting in here. And now we can resume on the shaping. And another thing, don't be afraid to take off. If you have lacquer, I would suggest removing all the lacquer first. But as you can see, my wood's turning lighter. I have an oil finish on this, and I'll show you the oil later. I blend it in as best I possibly can, which means you're going to take off some wood as well. That's going to get the smoothest transition, because it's all going to be on one plane. I don't go against the grain or exactly across the grain. I usually go in diagonals. I don't know if that's correct or not, but it's worked for me, and so I'll continue following away. I'll probably speed this next bit up so you can see the whole thing, and we can come out with a finished product. It is something to note that once you get towards these transition areas where you round around the bottom or round around the top, be very careful. If you sit in one spot too long, you'll get a flat spot, and then it'll look like an octagon going around the top instead of a smooth transition. So this is where I guess you need to have the eye for it and the skill to be able to manipulate your file around that radius. Yep, that looks pretty good on that side. Now I'm going to start on this transition. Also, it is September, but if you're going to put an extender, I shot all last year with these extenders on these guns, and so if you're going to put an extender on, do it before just beginning of duck season or dove season or any season as you shoot, and spend at least 5 to 6 months getting used to the gun and how it shoots with the new length of pull. You don't want to go into a season with this is basically, if you put this extender on, it's a different gun. I mean, it's a different shape, it handles differently, so you don't want to go into a season with a brand new gun that you've never practiced with. And that's what you're creating when you're changing the length of pull. That's another thing with these extenders, you'll hit little spots. There's a little rough spot. I don't know if it's where the polymer or the plastic isn't as dense or it wasn't extruded well. I'm not sure how they process these, but you'll hit these little pockets where it'll just get real rough, like it's almost like it's soft. And the best way to deal with that is just to polish it out. Alright, so that is, see if I can get it to focus. Come on, come on. There we go. So, as you can see, it's pretty well blended in. Next thing to do is hit it with some finer and finer sandpaper and get all the lines out and smooth it up. So, this is the superposed stock, and as you can see, it may look like it's blended in, but there's some, I don't know if you can hear that. So that's a lip that needs to be sanded out, and there's a little bit of super glue on the bottom because this bottom piece I didn't sand it well enough to make it flat, so it was starting to separate. So we're going to sand all that down. I've already taken all the lacquer off of this gun and oiled it as well. This is a 1968 superposed Magnum 12 gauge. I'll start filing away on this one like I did the A5. And right away I can actually feel this wood's a lot harder than the wood on that A5. There's something about the way it responds to the file that just, I can tell I'm taking off less material every time I pass the file over the wood or plastic. This one's a little tougher. Like I said, the wood's harder, so I've been cramping my hand up trying to get this thing down. It's crazy how much different this wood acts than that A5's would. Or maybe not acts, but it's crazy the way that this wood responds to the file compared to that A5. How much different it is. So you may notice that I'm going pretty far out with my strokes and getting down well on into the stock wood. Well, the reason behind that is I don't want to focus just on this intersection and then have a divot from wood to wood. I'd rather it all be smooth throughout the whole plane. And I think that's what I've accomplished here. There's a couple spots right there where some wood glue got on it, and since I'm going to re-oil the whole thing anyway, it's best just to sand down that section, get the wood off, and hit it with some sandpaper later to smooth it back out. Beautiful. I think that's as blended in as it's gonna get. No scratches anywhere really. I think that's it. Perfect. So next up, sandpaper. So I typically start with a piece of 220, just the regular 3M sandpaper. Cut off a little rectangle of it and go until I run out of grit. I'll probably use this whole rectangle on both sides and the rounds, and then I'll move to 400 to finish it, and then I'll hand oil it, and you'll see that later on in the video. And here I do try to sand with the grain of the wood. Just it helps. I've noticed it helps kind of hide a lot of the scars and lines from the file or the rasp. And then the 400 really is what polishes it out. So I'll run little circles with the 400. Well, my other battery died. We'll see if this one's got enough juice in it to finish the video. So really now I'm just checking the wood, seeing where that file hit it and if there's any marks, and it doesn't look like there's really any more. Doesn't look like there's really any more marks from the file in the wood. Here, like I said, you're gonna get scratches, but as soon as you rub it with oil, it'll go away. All right, I'm gonna move to 400 grit and then start on the A5. And the 400, I really don't spend that much time with the 400 just because it's the 220 gets it pretty smooth. The 400 really just lays that grain over. Alright, let me go grab that A5 and we'll polish that up and get some oil on them. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is take, let's see, this is called linseed. It's raw linseed oil. Some people use boiled linseed oil. It almost smells like peanut oil, but it is very messy, so I keep it in a Ziploc bag. And all I do is take my finger. This is probably too much, just a little dab, and you can already see it start to darken up and soak into the wood. And I've probably put, I couldn't tell you how many coats of linseed oil on this gun. Probably 20 to 30. I don't know, to get the true London oil finish. Not sure how many you have to put in, but I do like rubbing it in with my hand, because rubbing it your hand creates a little bit of friction, and it heats the gun up, or heats the wood up, so that it can absorb a little bit better. That linseed oil works its way down into the grain of the wood. Like I said, a little goes a long way, so I'll do a dab on one side, flip it over, do a dab on this side. And I never pour it on there. I'll take my finger and I'll do a little flick. You get a touch on my finger. And I like doing it on the extender as well, because it makes it really deep black, kind of matte black color. You know, it might be plastic, but it is porous, so it does soak in that oil a little bit. And it helps cover up, you know, any of the lines that the sandpaper didn't get out, that was left over from the file. Well, there we go. And that is how you oil, like I said, with linseed. I'm going to do the fore end real quick, and then I like to finish it with this this stuff I'll show you in a second. You can order it. I think you can order it on Amazon. If not, you can order it from Midway USA or any other spot. Right, now here is the thing that I really like to do. And I don't even, I might need to let this soak in and dry, but there's stuff called Renaissance Microcrystalline Wax Polish. There we go. So that stuff right there, it's pretty good stuff. It smells It smells a little like paint thinner, but it's this wax, and you can run your finger in it. And it says you can use it on antique furniture. I think one of the big British museums uses it for all of their furniture. There is just one coat of fresh wool on a gun stock that I have blended in with my stock extender so that my length of pull is correct. Now you can buy ones that slip over the top. I don't really like those. I like something, you know, that's built into the structure. I know this isn't going to move anymore because it's glued in and it fits, and it is perfectly blended in and looks like it's now part of the gun. Now it's time to do these superposed. So same thing, I'm gonna give it a quick wipe down to get all the dust and debris from sanding off of it. And linseed oil going on. But look how much better that wood looks now that's got just one coat of wool on it. Kind of do like this dark piece. I'm sure a lot of people would think that's ugly, but I like that dark piece of grain in that wood. And of course, this is an older gun, so it's got bruises and dings in it everywhere. But all in all, it's in good shape. The balloon looks great on it. I do think it's also a prettier piece of wood than what's on that A5. Put a little too much on there. That's see if we can't spread it out a bit. If not, I'll rub it on this bath mat and see if it cleans that. Got some down in the checkering. Yeah, I cleaned it out a good bit. There we go. All right, I'm gonna close that up so I don't knock it over and make a mess. And I will start on that Renaissance wax. And that will be the sanding of a stock extender and the subsequent partial refinishing of the wood. Put a couple big globs on there. I haven't given this gun nearly as many coats of that linseed oil as I have the A5. But over time, the more and more you use these guns, the darker and darker the wood will get. It'll soak up the oils in your hands and the oils every time you polish it, or put this polishing wax on it, or every time you put linseed oil on it. Now, the linseed oil is already has a darker yellowish reddish color to the oil, so that adds a little bit of color, not a ton, but it does darken it up a bit. Like I said, I just keep working it with both my hands, keeping that heat on the wax, on the oil, so that it soaks in the wood. Don't take my wedding band off, probably should, but it's okay. I'm really pleased with how these turned out though. And also, try your best, I mean, I'm not being very careful, but try your best when you do this to not get the oils all over the bluing and the metal. I'm not sure, I don't think it'll hurt it, but it's just best to put it on what it's made to get put on, and as much as you can help it, keep it off of what it's not. All right, and there is the finished product of the Brownings Superposed 1968 Magnum 12 gauge. Wood, re-oiling and waxing, and the blending in of the stock extender.